Hello everyone, my name is Simon Chamberlain and today I'll be presenting the article Toward the Workplace of the Future, How Organizations Can Facilitate Digital Work. The authors of this article are Sven Dietz, Schapper Richter, Alexander Richter, and Steven Smolnik. The overarching idea of this article is that the workplace of the future, which encompasses the idea of digital work, focuses on how and what work is done by employees instead of where and when it is done. In this article, we see how organizations aim to provide information technology in order to facilitate digital work, but we also see how this process is not as easy as simply providing these tools. Management needs to consider various other elements and address many challenges to successfully introduce a digital work environment. Before jumping into the content of the case, why are we talking about digital work? And why are so many companies and employees seeking this transition? The first benefit for businesses is that they become more attractive to new talent. In fact, younger generations prefer decentralized work environments that offer more decisional power and the ability to see the impacts that their work has on company results. Therefore, to remain attractive to these younger workers, companies are looking into how they can tailor their systems to offer these features. For the same reasons that digital work can attract new hires, it is also likely to increase employee engagement and their loyalty for the company. Finally, a more tangible benefit for the company is that digital work leads to lower lease and infrastructure costs since the required office space is much smaller, especially when the offices are located in downtown areas where leases are usually much higher. Now, if we look at the benefits for employees, digital work can greatly improve the work-life balance by offering flexible schedules and less commuting time. As mentioned, employees also enjoy higher engagement, and the IT tools also allow for faster communication and collaboration. Of course, these benefits can be counterbalanced by negative side effects, such as making work so accessible that employees feel overloaded, by creating a sense of isolation because communication has become impersonal, and there is also always a potential that employees resist the change, thereby making the implementation more difficult. It is true, in fact, that many employees still prefer a routine of going to the office. Now, knowing about these risk factors and that they can be opposite of the options digital work can provide, the authors argue that successfully introducing and capitalizing on digital work requires a shift from traditional thinking about how organizations define work. When we talk about digital work, we refer to one of the three types of design levers. Knowing these design levers will be insightful once we start comparing the cases further on in the presentation. The first lever are the IT systems. Systems enable collaboration anytime, anywhere. They include tools such as video conferencing and mobile devices. The second lever is social. Social software speed up collaboration and simulate internal ideal creation. Social refers to enterprise social medias. The third lever is space. Space supports collaboration and facilitates interpersonal connections and refers to the actual work location of employees. It therefore involves concepts such as open space offices, desk sharing, or work from home. Now that we know the types of digital work levers, how do you implement them? Unfortunately, all organizations are different, which means that the solution is never the same either. To prove this point, the authors reviewed the performance of three completely different companies to show how digital work environments can be established in a sustainable way for different types of business. The authors gathered their data by conducting an interview study from employees working in different functions of each company. Their goal was to answer the following questions. What were the motivations for implementing digital work? What IT and infrastructures were required? How was the information disseminated and how were the employees brought on board? And finally, what were the impacts of the project? The three organizations that were reviewed are the following. Allianz, a large multinational corporation working in the financial sector. They operate in 70 countries and hire about 150,000 employees, by far the largest of the three cases. Then we have the city administration of Lenzburg. Lenzburg is a small town in Switzerland with about 11,000 citizens. The city administration provides cultural, economic, and other services to the local area, and they also manage the public works such as the road construction and public building maintenance. They employ 150 employees who are stationed in various offices around town. The last case is Hoff Humantis, a software development company that develops and sells solutions for HR and talent management. Hoff Humantis hires 150 employees, and they embrace an open work culture, such as is the case with many tech startups. Now I will summarize the results of the three cases so that we can compare the similarities and differences of each. Allianz's motivations were very strategic. They want to eliminate silo thinking in order to strengthen communication and cross-functional collaboration. Being located in the heart of Munich, Allianz is always competing for upcoming talents, and being an attractive employer for the new and current employees was also a main driver. Other reasons for implementing digital work was to offer flexibility to employees and improve product innovation. The IT infrastructure that was used to fulfill these motivations were varied. They included new forms of working, such as working from home, and new office concepts, such as desk sharing, to encourage teamwork. The most important feature they added was the enterprise social media platform called Allianz Connect. The platform had many functionalities that encouraged knowledge exchange between employees and also helped collaboration. They even made an app for the platform so that the employees could access it from their mobile phones. When it came to choosing dissemination channels, the sheer size of Allianz meant that an instant rollout was impossible. Instead, they opted to gradually roll out, first by testing the concept in certain divisions, and then using success stories to gradually roll out the system. To support this process, the management often answered questions about the platform in Q&As, and the COO was also very active on the platform, which encourages adoption by employees. Finally, for the impacts on the organization, the greatest impact of the digital work project was that it contributed to the creation of a new corporate culture. The beautiful thing is that it happened naturally without the influence of corporate communication. Over 6,000 digital communities have been created on Allianz Connect, which certainly helps in achieving the objective of increasing communication, collaboration, and innovation. Next, we have the city administration of Lenzburg. Their motivation was primarily about efficiency and convenience. Most of the work done by the administration does not depend on time and location. Therefore, the goal is finding a way to make work and also getting to work easier for the employees. The IT and infrastructure that were used to achieve this goal were those that allowed employees to access work remotely, such as smartphones and VPN access. They also began to scan incoming paper mail so that it could be accessed from any location. Being a government organization, the structure of the city administration is very rigid, and the rollout was therefore a top-down strategy, which came with very clear directives and guidelines. The truth is that some employees are not eligible for digital work because they work face-to-face with citizens. Therefore, the administration had to clearly define which departments and under which circumstances is digital work suitable. The heads of department also encourage their eligible employees to use it. Overall, the implementation of digital work was successful for the city administration as the employees who used it experienced the benefits of flexibility and effectiveness. A positive side effect was also the cost reductions on rent for office spaces and parking. Finally, we look at Hoff Humantis. Unlike the other two examples where digital change was initiated by a desire from management to change, Hoff Humantis changed because change and innovation is rooted in the organization's identity. They have a participative leadership where employees can nominate and vote for their formal managers. The fact that employees are so involved means that they are open to discussing about strategic direction and change processes. With that being said, the transition towards digital work was an employee initiative, and the main motivators were having flexible schedules, flexible work locations, to improve collaboration, and also having more transparency between management and the employees. Based on these motivations, the company put forward new collaboration platforms and internally developed an employee management tool that allows for a flexible performance management process that employees can transparently see and discuss their performance. They also developed an enterprise social media app that not only improves transparency by sharing current activities of the firm, but it also increases the speed at which that information circulates. The dissemination channels used at Hop Humantis is unique. Instead of a top-down rollout, they used a type of bottom-up rollout, which they refer to as a viral rollout. Essentially, small teams introduce the concept to a pilot group and gather their experiences to see whether or not the concept has potential. If the teams begin to use it, then the tools should be able to self-spread without management having to make an effort for people to use it. Nonetheless, having the CEO participate in the viral rollout is always beneficial. The impacts of the digital work program at Hop Humantis were improved transparency, higher self-esteem for employees in leading new projects, improved creativity, and higher employee engagement. Although the article presents successful cases of digital work implementation, the authors also took the time to list major challenges that usually have to be addressed during digital work implementation. I'll go over these challenges before giving final recommendations into how they can be mitigated. First, there is the digital work overload challenge. As I said before, simply implementing tools without the proper implementation strategy might be too much for employees to handle. IT can be complex, and it can lead to employees being confused and overwhelmed by all the new functions they offer. In addition, it's been observed that employees who always have access to their work can sometimes work too much and feel overworked, leading to adverse effects on the employee's health. The second challenge is the culture and leadership paradigm. The challenge arises when the choice and dissemination of digital work programs do not fit with the company's culture and leadership structure, and thereby cause the implementation to fail. The contrasting cases of Lenzberg with Hop Humantis gives a great example of how the companies wisely chose a top-down approach versus a viral rollout in their respective cases, as they were the most appropriate options. Third challenge is regarding the comfort level of employees with regards to IT. Research shows that the management should evaluate the effects on the digital immigrants, also called the least tech-savvy employees, as they might be the most reluctant to change. It is important not to overlook this generation, as they oftentimes have the most institutional knowledge and memory. Finally, one last challenge can be getting the top management support. The three cases in this article show the importance of top management in rollout strategies because they can act as pioneers and leaders. However, this is not always the case. Now, to address these challenges, the authors also provided 8 recommendations to implement digital work successfully. The first step is to develop a clear vision of digital work and choose the right information technology that will achieve this vision. Communication will be important throughout the whole process, and messages should always link back to this vision. As one of the challenges mentioned on the last slide was the potential conflict between the digital work plan and the prevailing culture, here it is recommended to give special considerations to this paradigm before initiating the implementation. The successful implementation and the adoption of digital work will require many adjustments. Therefore, the use and impact of digital work should be reviewed regularly. This is going to be a long process, therefore it's important to manage the expectations of everyone. I mentioned the importance of not leaving the digital immigrants behind. Therefore, recommendations 5 and 6 are providing mentoring and easing employees into digital work will help keeping these employees on board. Finally, organizations should aim to develop an open and collaborative organizational culture that will encourage and promote the use of digital work. Executives play a vital role in developing this culture, and they should be ready to act as pioneers. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.